I want the big advice here. So if you look, maybe you have to look like 10 years back. What kind of advice do you want to give yourself if you had to go back in time?
Have more confidence in yourself. For me, again, speaking to myself, have more confidence. We're all still learning.
That piece of advice is you just need the one yes.
I would tell myself to embrace the change.
Yeah, I like that. I also think with change that sometimes it gives new possibilities, right? To be creative or create something which will then turn into growth.
Yeah, I think looking at things through the lens of value added rather than learning for the sake of it or being scared to make mistakes is, speak up. You've been hired because you offer value.
That's the thing is look for your mentors, look for like-minded people.
Welcome to Leadership Manufacturing Podcast. I'm your host, Sanna Vinding. I'm a strategic leader with over 20 years of experience in B2B marketing, product development, and team empowerment. Have you ever been in a meeting where somebody hesitated to make a decision because they were afraid of getting it wrong? We've all been there. Wonder what happens if we mess up. Here's the thing though. Even the most experienced leaders have gone through this journey of doubt and learning. And in today's episode, we're taking a look at some incredible advice from past episodes on this exact topic. Making decisions with confidence and seeing mistakes not as failures, but as opportunities to learn. It's about shifting your perspective and realizing that growth as a leader comes from taking action and learning along the way. This episode features highlights from some of the most recommended past conversations, and you will hear insights from Eric Slatten. He's the president and CEO at ECS Inc. International. Eric Gleason, he's the director of distribution sales North America at EBM Pabst Inc. Jaime Plank, he's the director of supplier management at Mouse Electronics. Damien Croft, he's the general manager at Norcom. Together, these guests have some incredible lessons on how confidence, mentorship, and communication all play an important role in leadership. So jump in, listen today. I hope you enjoy the episode. Here's Eric Slatten. He's the president and CEO at ECS Inc. International. I want the big advice here. So if you look, maybe you have to look like 10 years back. What kind of advice do you want to give yourself if you had to go back in time?
Have more confidence in yourself. For me, again, speaking to myself, have more confidence. We're all still learning. As long as you aren't arrogant about anything, if you walk in with the confidence and the knowledge that you have, you have, be confident in that.
Yeah.
Don't be so concerned about, I'm talking to this title or that title, and we're all people. We're all people. Don't take it so seriously. One thing that I talk about here at ECS is, some people will get upset or concerned that they're going to make a wrong decision.
Yeah.
But you aren't ever going to make a decision so terrible that it's going to ruin the company. We all make bad decisions, or we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
We learn from them. That's it. And back to what I was saying, when I would be in front of a customer, somebody had a big title. Well, as I've gotten older from 10 years ago, I now understand they're just people.
Yeah.
Right. There's no one person that's so special. You can't have a conversation and talk to them, introduce them to your product, introduce them to yourself.
Yeah.
Have more confidence. Have more confidence in your abilities. Would be my suggestion to myself 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good advice. And I want to add to listen as well. That is that's also important. But yeah.
Don't just listen to learn.
Yeah.
Listen to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I got another title for this podcast episode. There
you go.
You're like, I'll call you next time. What should I call it? Okay. I have one more question, actually. I want to ask you. So, got skill set, right? If you want to grow and you're like one that, you're like never stopping learning. That's how, I see you right now that we talk and we chat here. So what kind of skill do you have that's saying, I really want to be better, or I want to learn more and have this skill into my umbrella or my backpack or whatever you want to call it?
You're going to make me be vulnerable here.
I am.
You're going to make me show my cards.
No.
Probably the financial side of things. I would say that's not my strongest point.
Yeah.
That's one place that I think I could learn a lot more and get a lot more confident in. back to what we were just talking about, be more confident. That's one that I'm like, I can manage through some financials, but I'm not strong at financials.
Yeah.
That, and I'm sure there's a couple handfuls of things that I could be better at.
Yeah.
And that I'd like to.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm just curious because again, I think it's like, even though if you're not great, right? You can raise the bar a little bit, and that's what you just said, right? You want to raise that bar within the finance. So, how to improve. And I think if you have the mindset already to say to yourself, or saying, "Hey, I'm not just ending on this plateau. I want to improve." I think that's already right. That's also like a skill set to yourself to say, "Hey, with that mindset, I keep growing."
Absolutely. And I guess let me add one more. Again, I'm opening up.
Yeah.
The engineering side of things, like I said early on, I'm not a highly technical person when it comes to designing. I can talk to our product a little bit. Again, I've got to bring engineers in. I could be better at that. It would be setting aside time to go and actually take some courses on that. And I've not done that. And that is something that I do desire to do.
Yeah. Here's Jaime Plank. He's the Director of Supplier Management at Mouser Electronics.
One of the things that I learned over the last few years, is that I can't tell someone, all right, you're going to be a leader and this is how you're going to do it. And these are the steps you're going to follow. It has to be, someone that's taking ownership of that for themselves and really driving, what that looks like for them. And then I'm just there to help, facilitate and encourage and point them in the right direction when they're running into challenges or hitting a wall, and help try to open doors for them. But ultimately, I think it's really important for every individual to kind of own what that looks like for them. So that's what I encourage my team to do.
Yeah, I like that. And also by having that conversation, right? I'm sure to say, if they want to grow and become a leader or have more responsibility or whatever that looks like. So you're sure that both you and your employees know, what that path looks like. So it's back to that communication.
And also those employees that don't necessarily want to be in leadership because not everyone does. And that's okay. That's good that not everyone is going for the same thing. But it goes the same for those that just want to develop in the roles that they're in or want to develop into different roles in the future. It's the same kind of theory either way.
Here's Eric Gleason. He's a Director of Distribution Sales North America at EPM Pabst. So if there was like a new one, right? It would just going back to the generation. So like a Gen Z, right? Starting, what advice would you offer somebody that's starting within the industry?
I would say definitely be open to mentorship, I guess. That's what I find is that the mentorship piece of our industry has grown and evolved and is becoming probably the biggest part of helping people advance their careers, helping them advance their knowledge set, and being more, being better at your job. Like that one thing, when you first start out, there's a lot coming at you. And I think that one of the things that I've been trying to figure out as I've been kind of pondering this question about how do we get more people into our industry is I think that it is a very engineering heavy industry, and a lot of it is technical knowledge and things like that. And I'm wondering, how do we either lower that barrier of entry? Because a lot of it is, technical, and you go to a sales training as a I went to school to be an English teacher. So communication and learning was more my thing. But when I'm asked a question about a specific capacitor or something, or a connector, you know what I mean? Like they call it like, knowing enough to be dangerous, but like, that's what I wonder about is there a way that we can lower that where you don't have to be as technical maybe, or is that a barrier that's causing some people to get in and then go, whoa, this is way too technical for me.
Yeah. It's like too narrow of a funnel, right? To get into the industry.
Yeah. I mean, because there's, and in our industry, there's people that are specialists at certain products, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, they know everything about that one product, but then if you ask them to go off the board or go somewhere else or talk about something else, it's like, I don't know about that. Call those people.
Yeah.
So I guess my recommendation to a person coming in would be like, don't try to know everything. Don't try and make it a, knowledge contest. Just try and know who knows everything, So be the person to connect people, be a connector person, to the knowledge experts, I guess. And that's what people used to tell me too, They said, you don't have to know everything. You just have to know who to call.
Who to call, yeah.
So,
yeah, and be honest, right? So when you do talk to customers and they ask you, just saying, I don't know, but let me find out. And then you actually come back with the answers.
Yeah. And learn as much about your customer. If you're a salesperson, learn as much about your customers and what values they have, because every customer generally has a website and they like to post about us,
Yeah.
We like to be the leader in this, the leader in that, the quality leader in this. Yeah, everyone's a leader in something. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to be the leader, right? Like,
you do want.
You're building a product. You want to be the best at building that product. So ask the customers, about themselves. I was listening to Don Akery's podcast with you, and he was talking about when you first meet, go on a date, you don't try and kiss the person.
Yeah, right.
First date, And it's like, that's one thing as salespeople that we like to do is, here's all my features and benefits. Buy from me. And I'm still guilty of doing that. I go too fast. I still send emails like that. Man, I gotta
slow down.
Wish I had that one back, But that's the thing is like, look for your mentors, look for like-minded people.
Yeah.
Reach out to them, be upfront with your bosses. This is one of the things that I think I was pretty upfront about. I wanted to be in the field.
Yeah.
And I remember the challenge of going from inside sales to outside sales with no experience.
Yeah.
And I had to push and push and push. And you just have to ask, you have to keep going. Like, don't get frustrated. Don't get, and it's one of these things that I used to always say, like, you just need one yes. That's the one thing, like, if I could give myself that piece of advice, is you just need the one yes.
Yeah.
I interviewed with 8 different people.
Yeah.
For my second job, and had I gotten frustrated after the first or second one, I wouldn't have got that job that changed my life,
Yeah.
And you get the one yes can change your life. So like, just keep going, keep trying. Because
what
it comes down to is,
I'll continue.
Well, just we're moving parts, that's what we're doing. We're moving parts from one warehouse to another warehouse in the most efficient way possible for the people who need it most. That's how I describe it. So what you do with that is really more about yourself progressing and getting better at certain things, whether it's communication, organization, whatever. Like, that's one thing about what I've always tried to do is find jobs that I'm not necessarily the best at, but offer me the opportunity to develop skills that I don't currently have, whether it's organization or setting meetings. Like, I don't throw a lot of parties, but I think setting up meetings has been one of those things where I have to get people together,
Yeah.
And so that's something that I am forced to do in my career. Whereas at home, I'll show up to all the parties, but like, I'm not probably not throwing it, So I don't know.
Oh, that's good.
That's how I try and do it.
Yeah. Listen to Jaime Plank. He's the director of supplier management at Mouse Electronics. If you have to look back, right? And you can take it's 10 years or it's 15 years, but if you want to look back and give yourself an advice, what advice would you have given yourself?
I would probably say to listen more than you speak.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things early on that I had a challenge with was that I was kind of a distracted listener. So I'd be trying to multitask, check emails, maybe I got a text on my phone, something popped up. So instead of truly being, in that conversation and giving my undivided attention and not listening to respond, but just listening to learn, that's something I wish that I would have started earlier on in my career. And then I think embracing change through, the last probably 7 years, really, since I've become a leader. There's been a lot of change that I've been a part of in organizations, whether it's, reorganizations, name changes, all of those things, people on my team changing on a pretty regular basis. I feel like I've always been a fan of change in my personal life, but from a company perspective and in this world, it can be intimidating. But what I've learned over the years is that it's an incredible opportunity for growth. So I would tell myself to embrace the change.
I like that. I also think with change that sometimes it gives new possibilities, right? To be creative or create something which will then turn into growth. But sometimes in the moment, right, you have to have that positive hat on. And sometimes it's not easy. And I think that's totally understandable. But I like that you're saying, the focus and actually listen is really important. I think you hit me there with a few things. Check out Eric Gleason. He's the Director of Distribution Sales North America at EPM Pabst.
Being the role that I have now, I'm meeting so many different people and they're selling so many different things. And it's just, it's fascinating to me, all the different aspects that there are to the industry. So it's been eye-opening. So it's really, that's why I'm much more positive and bullish on the industry than I previously was probably 10 years ago, I got to see it.
It's easier to look back, right? It'll be, I should have done that, right? When you're in the middle of it, right? It either is like this mountain that you have to climb, right? Or if this is your student loan or whatever, or it's your, starting a family or buying the house. There's so much happening, right? But when you're a little bit past it, you're like, oh, it's easier to say, oh, I should have done that. Or you could say, hey, actually, I did really good, right? Because that's, I am where I am.
Yeah. And again, that's why I think the mentorship part of it, especially right now, there are many, many people right now of the generation ahead of older than I am that are really looking to give back to the younger generation. And you've had some of them on your podcast already. I know a bunch of them, and they're all really looking for that. They're really looking to help, and they're really looking to help people figure out some of these issues that I just talked about in a more efficient way versus people just spiraling or losing it, and they're really sharp. They're super nice people, and they helped me along the way. And when you're dealing with some of these problems, it's like you said, it's like you can only see what's in front of you. And then you deal with other people that are a little bit older than you, and they actually want to help. And I was fortunate to have many people help me along the way. And but you also have to ask for the help.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
And sometimes that can't be. Sometimes it's not easy, right? But you need to ask. I think it's
you have to. You need to. You have to, and you have to be bold. Especially the younger you are, you have. That's what I'm learning. It's the same thing with investing, right? It's like when you're younger, you invest more in growth and things like that. You can be a little bit riskier. The older you get less risky, right? And so that's the thing is when you're younger and you're 22, 23, 24, just go. That was one of the things that I did. I remember I used to just walk around Avnet and just, Gary Berg was this guy, he said, an industry legend, sat in his corner office, and I would just go mess with him, and I'd say, Gary, what are you doing back here in your office, and he would take me in and give me pieces of insight that would help propel me to the next thing that I wanted to go try and do. And it's just like, oh, I would have never known that if I just sat in my cubicle all day and
didn't talk to anybody.
So, there's many people that are looking to help and looking to provide insight to people. And so, but this is the question about this younger generation if everyone's on their phone looking at TikTok all day, do they have that ability to go out and ask? So I'm challenging them right now. I'll be the older millennial guy saying get off the phone and talk to people, but it's really, if you want to learn and you want to grow and you want to get that next opportunity, you got to show that you're at least want it, you got to show that you want it because they're not going to give it.
No, you have to do it. I like that. I also like with the whole mentorship because I think it's a two-way street as well. So even if you do mentor, right, you also learn from that person you're mentoring. So it's a win-win for both.
Yes, for sure.
Here's Damien Croft. He's a general manager at Norcom. If we're looking back, right, if you have to look back maybe 10 or 15 years and give yourself an advice, what will that be?
Advice looking back, we could probably do a whole podcast on this.
Okay, we'll do that after.
I've made lots of mistakes and errors of judgment along the way, and obviously all of that's part of your learning and development. Advice, I think you hear a lot from people. It talks about learning as much as you can, soaking it all up. I agree with that. I buy into that. I think what really helped me was when I was able to translate the learning that I was getting and the knowledge to practical application, and how do I maximize the value that I add, whether it's to my customer, whether it's to the organization that I'm working for as a whole, whether it's to our distribution partner, our manufacturer's rep, whoever it may be. How do I translate that knowledge and maximize value? I think early on I was so petrified of making a mistake and so focused on, I'm in sales, I've got to grow my number, that I was gathering information when I'm out in the field, and I perhaps wasn't sharing that information with the product development team or with the supply chain team or with the marketing team. And they're areas where I could have massively maximized my value that I was offering to the company. But I was so blinkered on trying to do what I needed to do in my specific role that I guess it didn't even cross my mind to do that. And so I think the quicker you can learn to maximize the value that you bring, even outside of the four walls of your official job description, you can very quickly start to, climb the career ladder and gain exposure and additional responsibility. So I think looking at things through the lens of value added rather than learning for the sake of it or being scared to make mistakes is, speak up. You've been hired because you offer value. So have that confidence to speak up and add value wherever you can.
And so it's like lifting your head, right? And learning also about the whole organization, how it works together.
Absolutely.
Because then you have much better idea of who to ask, where to get feedback from, or get an advice, or to bring that value, as you're saying.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, the more you do that, people reciprocate that. So if you help out the product management team with some crucial customer feedback, then they're going to help you out when it comes to launching a new product and giving you the information you need or marketing. So it's, I guess, a big circle. Is the more you give, the more you get back, and the chances of having a successful career grow as a result.
I love it. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Leadership in Manufacturing podcast. I love that you're listening. Please find us on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, and be sure to subscribe and rate us. Also, follow our LinkedIn page and Instagram, and check out leadershipinmanufacturing.com for previous episodes, blog posts, and our newsletter. So let's continue this journey together to become better leaders in the electronics industry. Remember, stay curious, keep learning. See you next time.